She had everything: beauty, wealth, and power. To Zalika, respect was not given, it was expected. Every person in Zanira existed to praise her. In the grand kingdom of Zanira, there lived a princess unlike any other. Princess Zalika, daughter of King Jabari, was as radiant as the morning sun, her golden brown skin glowing under the royal jewels she adorned. Her eyes, dark and deep as the night sky, sparkled with confidence, and her very presence demanded attention. But Zalika was not just beautiful, she was proud. From the moment she could speak, she was told she was special, born to rule, and that the world revolved around her. Servants scrambled to fulfill her every request. Noblemen showered her with praises and gifts, and the people of the kingdom bowed low whenever she passed, and Zalika enjoyed every bit of it. To her, the world was filled with two kinds of people, those who worshipped her and those who did not matter. She treated her suitors like playthings, enjoying the thrill of making them chase her before crushing their hopes the moment they got too close. No man was worthy of her, and she believed no one ever would be. Her father, King Jabari, often sighed at her behavior. "One day, my daughter, you will learn that power means nothing without wisdom," he told her. But Zalika would simply laugh. "Power is wisdom, father," she would reply. And so, the princess continued living in luxury, never knowing that her greatest lesson would soon come from the most unexpected place. In the quiet village of Bokanda, nestled along the river that fed the kingdom, lived a man unlike any other Zalika had met. Obasi, the fisherman. He was not a prince. He was not wealthy. He did not wear fine robes or ride a horse-drawn carriage. Instead, he spent his days casting his net into the river, bringing in fish and selling them at the bustling market. What he lacked in riches, he made up for in wisdom, kindness, and strength of heart. He was respected by his fellow villagers, not because of power, but because of the way he treated people, with fairness, honesty, and a quiet dignity. One day, during the annual festival of the moon, the air in Bokanda was thick with the scent of roasted maize and sweet spices. Colorful lanterns hung from every hut, casting a warm glow over the lively streets. Drummers played rhythmic beats, their hands moving in a blur, while dancers twirled, their bodies swaying to the pulse of the festival. Children laughed as they chased each other through the crowd, and merchants called out their best deals to passers-by. Zalika and her royal procession made their way through the village, their golden banners shimmering under the moonlit sky. The villagers lined the streets, bowing low as the princess passed, all except one man, Obasi. He sat by the river's edge, mending his fishing net, his hands steady and sure. He did not bow. He did not look up in awe. He simply continued his work. Zalika noticed him immediately. Her pride flared. How dare he not acknowledge me, she thought. No man had ever ignored her before. Intrigued and slightly insulted, she decided she would teach him a lesson. Determined to make Obasi admire her, Zalika visited Bokanda often. She would find excuses to be near him, sometimes strolling past the river in her finest dresses, other times stopping by the market where he sold his fish. She tried charming him. She smiled sweetly, laughed musically, and spoke of life in the palace. "I could have anything I desire," she told him one day. "Fine silks, golden bracelets, the most expensive perfumes." Obasi only smiled. "And yet, here you are," he said simply, "seeking the attention of a humble fisherman." His words unsettled her. No man had ever spoken to her that way, but she was not ready to give up. So she offered him gifts, gold, silver, anything he could want. He refused them all. "You think wealth and beauty make you special," he said one evening, as the sun set over the river, but a heart that seeks only admiration is an empty one. For the first time in her life, Zalika had no reply. She had always believed she was superior because of her status. But Obasi, he was not impressed. And something about that made her both furious and fascinated. Determined to win him over, Zalika changed her strategy. She began helping the villagers, handing out food, speaking kindly to the elderly. But her kindness was performative, done only to impress Obasi, and he saw through it. "Kindness is not a game, princess," he said. "It is not something you do to be seen. It is something you do because it is right." The words cut deeper than she expected. Over time, Zalika stopped trying to impress him. Instead, she began to listen. She paid attention to the stories the villagers told, the struggles they faced, and the wisdom they shared. She found herself drawn to the quiet strength in their voices, the way they valued kindness over wealth. One afternoon, she sat by the river, watching Obasi mend his nets. "Why do you care so much for these people?" she asked, her voice softer than before. Obasi glanced at her. "Because they are my people, just as they are yours," he said. "A leader is not great because of what they have, but because of what they give." His words lingered in her heart. She began spending more time with the villagers, not as a princess, but as one of them. She helped weave baskets, fetched water, and even learned to mend fishing nets. For the first time, Zalika felt a different kind of joy, one that did not come from admiration, but from connection. She watched how Obasi helped others, not for attention, but because he truly cared. Slowly, she changed. She spent less time speaking of herself and more time learning about the people of her kingdom. For the first time, she felt small, not in weakness, but in the realization that she was no more important than anyone else. One day, Zalika approached Obasi not to impress him, but to apologize. "I have spent my whole life believing power made me special," she admitted, "but I see now that I was wrong." Obasi studied her for a long moment. Then he nodded. Real change does not come from words, but from actions. And this time Zalika understood. She no longer tried to win him over. Instead, she focused on becoming a better ruler. But as the days passed, Zalika realized something new. She no longer wanted to change Obasi's mind. She had genuinely fallen for him. One evening, standing by the river, Zalika felt her heart race. She had never been nervous before, never second-guessed herself, but tonight was different. She watched the rippling water reflect the moonlight, her hands clasped tightly together. "Obasi," she began, hesitating as she searched for the right words. "I've spent so much of my life believing I was above everyone, that I was entitled to admiration and love simply because of my status. But meeting you, seeing the world through your eyes, has changed me." She turned to face him fully, her expression earnest. "I no longer seek to impress you or win your favor. I only ask, would you consider marrying me?" Obasi smiled softly. "Zalika," he said gently, "I am honored. But I have never been drawn to riches or titles. I love my life here with my people. And while I respect the woman you have become, my heart is not yours to claim." His words stung, but Zalika did not argue. She understood now. Love could not be won like a prize. Instead of heartbreak, she felt gratitude. Zalika returned to the palace no longer the woman she once was. The arrogance that once ruled her heart had been replaced by wisdom. The hunger for admiration had faded, leaving room for something greater, a true understanding of what it meant to lead. No longer did she see her people as mere subjects, but as individuals with hopes, struggles, and dreams of their own. She ruled not with pride, but with fairness, ensuring that both the rich and the poor were treated with dignity. Under her reign, Zanira flourished, not through fear or power, but through justice and kindness. And though she and Obasi never became husband and wife, their story lived on, whispered through the streets and written into history. A tale of a princess who learned that strength is not found in power, but in humility. A tale of a fisherman who taught a queen the greatest lesson of all, that love cannot be claimed like a prize, but must be given freely. In time, Princess Zalika became Queen Zalika, not remembered for her beauty or status, but for the heart she grew, the wisdom she gained, and the kingdom she built on respect and fairness. Her journey became a lesson for generations to come, a reminder that true strength is found in humility, and true love is never taken, but always given willingly. And so, the name Zalika lived on, not as the arrogant princess she once was, but as the queen who led with her heart. The end.